Hi, welcome to another episode of World with Problems, and today we will be sharing about the Glorious Revolution of 1688.
We will be discussing the various effects on human life in Britain during and after the Glorious Revolution.
Despite the obvious political reformations it posed, the Glorious Revolution had caused many changes in aspects of social life, such as the matter of religion, family finance, and the limitation of new ideas. Back to Enrico.
Thank you, Jason. Financial matters in England differed much from what they were before. Debts used to be handled loosely by the monarchs alone, but after the Glorious Revolution, the debts were now monitored and addressed by the commonly unused Parliament. The Parliament placed new taxes on the citizens as a solution to the large debt. The Parliament's new plan relied largely on their credibility. Usually, when a nation's credibility decreases, their interest rates also tend to decrease due to the population's willingness to save money. However, no rates went down, and if anything, they went up.
So basically what happened was that the Parliament retaliated by increasing the security of property rights. The interest rates began to climb also, which increased the demand for investments. However, the Glorious Revolution raised the rates on national debt instead of lowering it.
Precisely. A large portion of the population began to better understand this new political change only after experiencing its effects. However, perhaps the biggest impact of the Glorious Revolution on the people of England is that it gave them a lot more power in political affairs. The Parliament, which was mostly ignored by the monarchs in the past, has risen up from the grave. Many political actions made concerning the Glorious Revolution's completely separate governing system to ensure its stability. William was obliged to sign the Bill of Rights in order for him to take the throne, and this document limited the rights of the king. The deal struck between Parliament and the royal couple in 1689 was that Parliament would support the war against France, while William and Mary would accept their new constraints on their authority. The new constitution reflected the relative weakness of William's bargaining position more than any strength in Parliament's position. Parliament feared the return of James, but William very much needed England's willing support in the war against France because the cost would be extraordinary and William would be focused on military command instead of political wrangling. These initial constitutional settlements was worked out in 1689 in the English Bill of Rights, the Toleration Act, and the Mutiny Act that collectively committed the monarchs to respect Parliament and Parliament's laws.
We can't forget that it also placed the choice of the successor under the decision of the Parliament, instead of the heir being passed to the current monarch's son. One thing that the Bill of Rights attempted was preventing the action of James II from reoccurring when James happily abdicated his throne and handed it down to William. The Bill of Rights also abolished many laws that were passed by James, such as the Act of Indulgences. This action stripped the Catholics' power to hold any office position. A greater sense of equality was formed as more rights were given to the population of England. The Glorious Revolution finally established a victory of the Parliament over the monarch, as it is now able to be frequently consulted by the monarch. It also prevented the monarch to hold his or her army during peacetime, and took away the power of the monarch to abolish any law.
Another one of the Glorious Revolution's effects on English religious matters is that it jeopardized her true religion. Because religious toleration was a complex subject that no one knew how to address, the Tudors had various indecisive views on it.
This was a large reason for the revolution in the first place. England was still more of a Protestant nation while James II was still in power, and the country became enraged when James' son was christened as a Catholic. They feared that a Catholic monarch would try to convert England back into a Catholic nation once again. The Protestant Parliament had friction with the Catholic James, so they invited Mary II and William III of Orange in order to drive James out of England. Mary and William were required by the Parliament to fully agree to the terms of the Bill of Rights as they took office.
Despite the Parliament sounding marvelous after saying the country's religion, it had very sneaky clauses up its sleeve. The Toleration Act of 1689 was passed by the Parliament to grant freedom to those who sought religious freedom. However, it didn't say anything about religious toleration for the Catholics and Unitarians. The Toleration Act gave the nonconformists more social mobility because before this act, they were forbidden to hold any power in office. The public usually killed many of the nonconformists. They were seen as a heavy threat to the community. Persecutions were quickly discontinued soon after the new monarchy took over.
Prior to the Glorious Revolution and the Act, Protestants were divided and there were legal penalties for not adhering to the strict tenets of the Church of England. Nonconformists were persecuted, and Parliament could not agree on a way to keep the Church of England happy, while also allowing religious freedom only to Protestant dissenters, still not Catholics. In 1689, passage of the freedom of worship law came with ease, and the less favored sect of Protestantism gained an improvement in religious, legal, and social status. However, prior to 1689, it did not seem quite so likely that a law granting such freedom would be enacted.
All in all, it does seem that the Glorious Revolution had very little downsides. Despite those that were religious matters, nothing truly worsened in any person's life. The economy was improved, the populace gained more rights, this new form of government even sparked revolutions in other countries around the world.